guys, this is another video in my body image bootcamp series, and this one focuses a little bit on relationships in our body image. And I want to first start by talking about patience and how this can be a jewel in a relationship when it comes to you being able to define and embrace your body image. Now, when it comes to us women and this whole natural hair resurgence that's happening within the Black community, both within the United States as well as abroad, sometimes we can experience a little bit of contention with people around us that may not necessarily have jumped on the natural hair bandwagon. And that's to be expected. We need to understand that there is a long history of the features of Black women being viewed in a very dehumanized, very commodified way. And oftentimes, those of us Black women that uphold and internalize and project a ideal that is counter to our natural beauty, we tend to get more praise because of that. There's a history of that, and it stretches all the way back to, wow, the era of slavery, for example, where you have the dichotomy between light skin and dark skin. You have the paper bag test, post-slavery, the Reconstruction era, as well as this comb test. So there's always this testing of seeing, is Black beauty good enough? Is Black beauty pretty enough? Is Black beauty validated? Is it legitimate? And so those of us that are showing not only the people around us in our community, but globally, that yes, Black beauty, not only is it good enough, pretty enough, legitimate enough, but it's always been such. And we show them that by how we rock our hair, by us refusing and rejecting chemicals as a means to make our hair more pretty. We're saying, no, we can actually make our hair pretty by just maintaining it in its natural state. We're in many ways breaking down those historical stereotypes about what Black beauty is. And unfortunately, because we're breaking them down, we're going to experience contention. And sometimes we may experience that contention within our own relationships. And that's why I believe that a perception is not just based on an individual. Okay? Those of us that are in relationships, I myself have been in a relationship, a long-term relationship. We must understand that the way our men view us, whether they believe it or acknowledge it or not, is not just contingent upon their own individual views. Okay? Views are shaped by a community, by a family, by a nation, by a society. So when your man is seeing you for the first time, with your tightly coiled or loosely coiled or wavy curly, whatever hair texture you have, but he's seeing you rock that style, and he may have never seen that on any of the women in his life, mothers, aunts, sisters, even past relationships, but he's seeing it on you. Imagine, this is like foreign territory for him. All right? We have to understand that some of the contention we may experience with our men or with our brothers, it may simply be purely because they're not accustomed to it. Sometimes our beauty gets swept under the radar a lot of times because it's not something that a lot of people are used to. And sometimes a lot of people are not comfortable with it. Hence why you have people in even contemporary society being discriminated against because they're wearing locks or they're wearing natural hairstyles, or Afro hair is still being equivalent with militant mannerisms and behavior. You know, sometimes our natural hair can be seen as a marker of discomfort for other people and threatening and intimidation for other people, whether we're trying to project that or not. Sometimes people experience that when they look at us. And also, exoticism, being intrigued by it. Oh, can I touch your hair? All of these different types of reactions we will get. But one of the most, I think, to be expected reactions that we get, that sometimes I think we may have a difficulty handling in a healthy way, is those reactions that we get from our spouses, from our boyfriends, from the opposite sex, the important men in our life. And that's why I am making this video, because I want us as women, as sisters, to have patience when it comes to our men, specifically when they're acting in that way, when they're saying, I liked your hair better when it was straight. I liked your hair better when it was longer, when it was wavy, when it was, it had that wave long type of, chemically altered type of look. I liked it better like that. Now, granted, as a sister girl that loves to change up her hair whenever, I am not trying to discredit those sisters that wear straight hair, straight looks, chemically altered hair. I have no problem with you doing that if that's what you want to do for you. Okay? What I'm trying to say is that we need to understand that when we start to do our hair and rock our hair naturally, because that's what we want to do, and our significant others may not be on board with that, instead of trying to attack them and say, this is my hair, I can do whatever I want, I don't need to hear nothing from you, you don't need to do the whole, Before we do all of that, and I know sometimes it may be difficult, some of us may have already transcended that and, have handled this in a not so neck jerking, finger pointing way. But for those of us that haven't, and I'm still working on that, for those of us that haven't, what I'm asking is that we need to be more patient with our brothers. Okay? If your man has never seen black women around them, close to them, mothers, grandmothers, what have you, wear their hair in a natural state, but they've only heard of their mothers, their grandmothers, their aunts, their sisters, whatever, talk negatively about natural hair and always venerate and uphold hairstyles that are not natural, or uphold different types of natural hair textures over others. For example, Eurocentric natural hair, blonde, straight natural hair over tightly coiled Afro-textured hair. If they always see this type of hierarchy, and these women in their life are the progenitors and the purveyors of that hierarchy, you have to understand that you are not only being confronted with his individual viewpoint, but you're then in turn being confronted with the viewpoint that was shaped and molded by generations across gender and through history. So that's why I said we need to be patient, because our natural hair is confronting more than just the people that are immediately around us. It's confronting hegemonic stereotypes, or very pervasive, very negative stereotypes of what Black beauty is. It's confronting a whole history that has done nothing but try to denigrate what Black beauty is. And as Black women, we are taking a stand, whether the world wants to see it or not, whether the world is ready for it or not. We are taking a stand to say, look, I'm a beautiful Black woman with my hair in its natural state. The way it grows out of my head is the way it should be. All right? And if you don't like it, then that's your business. But you will see me. You will hear me. You will respect me. Because Lord knows that the history of Black women has been wrought and has been drowned in disrespect, has been drowned in erasure. All right. In many ways, our true natural beauty has been invisible. And that's why I say it's so important for us to be patient. And on the other side, the flip side, to our brothers, some of you all that refuse to get on the bandwagon, that refuse to acknowledge our natural beauty, and you feel that, a sister that rocks her hair in any way but its natural state is better, is beautiful, is to be, wifey material, then let me tell you this. You are suffering from internalizations of negative stereotypes. You have believed the lie. You have believed that Black women, that we are the most unattractive females on this planet, that we are the women that are to be looked upon as just flukes of nature, that we are not the ones that you should have as wife, that you should have as companion, that you should have as nurturer to your children. You have internalized the lie and rejected the truth. And unfortunately, I think that this is tragic, and I believe that when it comes to our body image, we need to understand that how we perceive ourselves is also an indication of how we will perceive others and how we will instill self-perception in our offspring. So if we do not get it together, women, men, if we don't get it together, then unfortunately we will be continuing this cycle of not getting it together. Okay? And we need to understand that when we look in the mirror, that we need to appreciate what we see. And if the brother that's standing behind you, looking at you, gazing at yourself in the mirror, does not appreciate what you see, there's two routes that you can take. You can take the route of patience and give him that time to grow to see what you see, And if he loves you, he'll want to learn. But if he is never going to jump on the bandwagon, then honey, you need to get another brother standing behind you while you gaze into the mirror. Okay? So, as always, stay true to yourself, love yourself, and stay beautiful. Peace.